Alrighty, welcome back everybody. You're listening to KPGR 88.1 FM. That last song was All of the Noise by Castlecomer, I believe. And this is Opinionated. I don't know if I told you, but I named the show. So the show is now, as well, I think in addition to the morning show, it is also called Opinionated as the official name. And I'm joined in the studio today with the one and only DJ Sketch.
Oh, that's right. Oh, good memory.
Yeah. Do you want to go by DJ Sketch as just for this?
I can go by whatever because I have no opinion.
All right, then I think
I'm
we'll
a
go
people pleaser.
A people pleaser, absolutely. Then I think we'll go with DJ Sketch because I like DJ Sketch. If you didn't have that DJ name, that's one that I would absolutely take.
That's
which
a good
is one. It's just that's a very solid one. So I believe, assuming I've talked to you about this, but I believe we're going to be doing a weekly, potentially bi-weekly show depending on scheduling.
And depending on how ridiculous the show becomes.
Exactly.
Where it's like, hey, come on my show every week. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, oh my gosh, what have I done?
What have I done? I invited DJ Sketch, and I can't do a weekly show with DJ Sketch. Anyway, but I thought it'd be cool to do a weekly show. So we have Opinionated as our show name. What are your thoughts on naming the morning show? Because it's been semi-controversial.
Well, most of the time I'm in the classroom and I'm able to listen to what's going on. And there are a lot of opinions going out there. And especially, I don't know the DJ name of one who has an opinion and shares all of his adventures with courtship.
Oh, really? I have not heard this show.
No, this is on your show.
Oh,
He's
on
your
my
guest.
show. Oh, wait, was this DJ Riz?
He's not in the class, but he's in sports broadcasting.
Okay, that is DJ Riz.
Yes, and he is fantastic and so opinionated.
Yeah, he was we're leading expert on women, I believe. Yeah, that was our official title for him, is DJ Riz, our leading expert on women. Who we had DJ Stones come in one time and was just like, so you've never had a girlfriend, correct? Yeah. Have you been on a date before? Well, yeah. And he's just like went into him like, whoa. But yeah, no, DJ Riz is a fun one to bring on.
Is DJ Riz tall or short?
Short.
Okay, we're not talking to the same person. We're not, but he is also fantastic as being the leading
we are talking
on relationships.
Are we talking DJ Ape?
I think so.
Okay. In sports broadcasting, he's been doing the Logic, the After Effects.
Yes.
Okay, DJ Ape.
One of my favorite people of all time.
Yeah, he's very opinionated. Yeah. That's DJ Ape. We call him DJ Ape just because he's kind of
ape-ish.
Yeah, he just kind of gives off ape vibes, and it's hard to put to nail down why he is. It's just kind of his essence.
This is so interesting as being a teacher and talking about these DJs with it's the pseudo name and just laughing about their personalities being so fun and saying that a student is apish is probably cancel culture.
Oh my gosh, yeah, probably, but I can say it because he's my friend. So,
but I said it.
Yeah. Oh, and you said it. Well, it doesn't matter. My YouTube channel actually gets all of 7 views. So assuming
I love
they're not
your YouTube channel.
The YouTube channel, yeah, I've been. It's very irritating to upload to YouTube. I realized.
Oh yeah.
When it's like a 3 gigabyte video, that surprisingly takes hours and hours to upload, which. I might need your...
when you've got dial-up internet?
Yeah. But I did want to ask you, we had an AI show last week with DJ Trex, and I remember talking to you about AI a while ago, and I wanted to ask your opinion on, starting off, just AI in general.
And you're talking
bad,
artificial intelligence generated art? Is that where you're going?
Not necessarily
or just AI
art. I think AI in general. Art is obviously a very big part of it recently, but AI in general. I think there's kind of some people who just take it's bad for artists for this, for that, and then there's some people who say it's good for this or that. And I think a lot of it kind of comes down to whether or not it's good or bad. It's here, and it's kind of not going away, so you kind of just have to embrace it either way.
Yeah, my opinion, if you want to hear it.
I would love
because
to.
I guess I am opinionated.
Yeah.
AI, it is here, and you can take the English teacher approach, and some of them might think this way, some of them might not, but they'll look at it and say, oh, students are going on and having AI write really good papers for them.
Right.
And they're well thought out, well thought out.
Yeah, yeah.
And students are using this as a crutch, and they're not learning because they're just taking it. Now, what I look at AI as a tool, and if you're a student and you see that as a tool and you use it as a tool and you build on it, that's great. But if you're using it as like, in my day, it was like my mom was a teacher at a junior high, and she had all the teacher's edition books, and in the back was like all of the answers were there. So all of a sudden I got all these new friends wanting to study with me because I had the teacher edition book. And that was not a way of learning.
Right.
You're not going to go through like your science class and getting anything out of it if you can just go to the back and circle B, C, D. So I think if somebody does that, turns it in as their own work, and this goes across all platforms, into the art realm, into everything. If you're using it, claiming it as your work, like some artists are generating art that has been pulled from all these other artists.
Right.
And then they get commissioned, they sell it, they claim it as their own. It's the same as anything else throughout the ages of plagiarism, taking somebody else's work. So use it as a tool.
And it's a tough one because it is definitely obviously it is taking like subject matter from copyrighted art pieces and stuff and then using it, but it's not like directly using it most of the time. Obviously there are some instances where it does actually take like a clip or whatever, and
a piece of their signature
specifically was a big one, and you're like, oh, that's definitely not, that shouldn't be happening at all. But it's also a tough thing because it's like, well, you can't really have one person sue the company unless it actually took your signature.
Right.
And I don't know if that's actually ever happened and it's been like, oh, that's my signature, it says my name, but I know there have been signatures taken. So I don't know, it's kind of tough. I kind of look at it as kind of like how calculators were in elementary school, where it's like you don't use them while you're learning. Like, you remember when in elementary school, when you're learning multiplication, they don't let you use calculators because they want you to actually learn how to multiply.
Yeah.
I look at it similarly, where once you actually know the basics, and once you say it's like ChatGPT and it's like writing essays and whatnot, once you know how to do that, it can potentially speed up the process instead of obviously not using it as like saying it's your own, but like using it, like you were saying, as a tool, like you would use a calculator, just as another source of input.
Yeah, I've been having conversations with the art teacher here at the high school, Chris Cooper, who is a phenomenal artist and a total pro.
Yeah. I had one of his classes. He's awesome.
And he's exploring AI art, and he's using it and developing it. And I think that's what you got to do. Like you said, it's here to stay.
Yeah.
And like, even the most amateur person, like, how incredible are the images that people are creating? Like, I know a lot of professional artists are very angry and putting the big AI with the no smoking sign of like the slash through it. And they're very angry with good reason. But like, how empowering is it for somebody who doesn't draw, doesn't paint? They can just type in their thoughts and their images come to life, or they can enter in their face and all of a sudden they become like war generals.
Yeah.
Like, that type of stuff is so mind blowing and so exciting. So it's hard for me. Like, I consider myself an emerging artist, and finding that type of power is so crazy.
Well, and it's especially crazy because it before it was, you had to find somebody who had spent years honing in on that craft and like really getting good at whatever it was to be able to say, I want you to be able to make me this, that's just a picture in my brain, and they'll be able to do it.
Yeah. And
that was a really like a skill that was very high value. And now with this, it's so much, not only is it like accessible and like another option, it's easier to be able to, and it, to be able to actually
totally
get exactly
easy.
what you want.
And this technology, it comes through all the time. Like, I think about it in like the video editing and filmmaking world.
Yeah.
Where all these filmmakers were worried that, like, this is a long time ago, when you used to have to cut your film with a razor blade, piece it together, and then the computer comes along, and you can just make cuts on the computer, and it's a faster process. And then it was like open to everyone. And then as soon as the personal computer came out, and people had like digital cameras, they're like, oh no, this is an art that's being thrown out to the common folk. It's going to be so easy. And then computers started doing, like, iMovie, I remember, had this little algorithm where you could drop stuff in. It would go through your footage.
Right.
It would find an intro. It'd follow the format of making a movie trailer. And almost every movie trailer had that exact format where it's like rising action, and then it has this like moment where the beat drops, and then
the big climax and the pause of it. Yeah.
And you could just take anything from your day and it'd drop in there and it'd make your movie trailer. And it was like, oh no, the art, the skill. So when it comes back down to it, like AI is going to be a tool, but I do believe that the human element is powerful, and if you're able to hone that skill, the computer's going to evolve enough that it's going to tell a story.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be able to tell a very human story, and but it's not going to tell your human story. Like the high school experience that you're having right now.
Right.
And the fact that you host a morning show.
Yeah.
And that you've got a dedicated fan in Weepy Boy Santos, who is one of the coolest and most...
Very true.
I'd say dedicated fans. Like the fact that he's stuck through a bunch of years of listening to high school experiences and like cheering you guys on is incredible, first off. And second, that he's like, he'll take the time because what you say matters. And it resonates with people who have been graduated for a little while. And computers, they can gather that information, they can process, they can learn. But your experience is unique.
Yeah.
That's what makes this thing like crazy valuable.
Yeah.
That you use it as a tool.
Right. And I think that's a big thing. I look at it now and I agree with everything you just said as far as using it as a tool. I think it'll be a lot tougher when in 50 years, 100 years, when they are able to make it so sophisticated.
That we don't have any clothing and we're chained up. And we are just cogs in the machine.
Yeah, it has become the Matrix, and we are just no. But like, I think it'll be so crazy when they'll be able to make machines that would be able to make a human that you couldn't tell it's a machine. You know what I mean? When it's so believable and it has its, maybe have it run through an algorithm of its own life, right? And then it does have its own experience, and it's like that kind of stuff blows my mind.
Yeah, that's great.
It's kind of like it's kind of like a simulation theory. It's kind of in that. Have you heard of the simulation theory?
No.
It's the idea. I talked about it last year quite a bit. I don't think I've talked about it at all this year. Basically, just the idea that we are in a simulation, right? Like everything it's the Matrix, right? That's the whole plot, and the whole like crux of it is that you can't really prove that it's not. Well, there's two. You can't prove that you're not in a simulation, and you also there's always a path that leads to having a simulation. So the idea is us as a species get advanced enough to be able to make a simulation of our own species.
Yeah.
If it's so advanced that everyone in there actually believes that they're real, that is eventually that simulation that we have now made will get advanced enough to make their own simulation in the simulation and so on and so forth.
Okay, so like the free guy theory.
Yes, exactly like that. Yeah.
Okay.
That same kind of idea. It's kind of like, I mean, it's just similar in that regard where it's like, walks like a, what is it? Walks like a duck and quacks like a duck or whatever. It's a duck kind of deal, right? If it is in every aspect a person, as far as AI goes, if nobody can tell, is it kind of, is it a person? Obviously it's not because it is AI, but I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to think about where the technology is going to be going.
Yeah, those thoughts hit me quite often when I'm laying in bed and I'm in that lucid state. And I'm just all of a sudden like, I understand everything. Yeah. And you're sitting there and then you try to explain it to somebody the next day and you're like, I am a 3-year-old trying to explain.
This made more I can explain it in my brain, but I can't quite get it across in words. Yeah. Well, and I find it especially scary when it's things like people like Elon Musk actually talking about it and being like, yeah, this is kind of a terrifying thing. That higher level people and smart people are also up there going,
is this something that we want to go down?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Netflix they've got a lot of different documentaries and like little shows about the evolution of how we're going to be able to share our memories and live on past our like physical life.
Right.
And interesting to know that they can start storing data inside of like trees, that they have been able to like put 2 gigabytes worth of actual information that you can pull from. in the DNA strands of trees, and they're saying that we'll go to forests
Wow.
and be able to pull the memories of our
That's kind of crazy.
our dead,
which is
crazy.
How does that exactly work? What are they? It's
So-
something in the DNA that they're able to like maybe translate it into binary or something.
Yeah, exactly. So in the
Okay.
DNA strands, it's really just a combination of 4 different letters.
Yeah.
And you've got your binary, which is 2, you have zeros and ones. So they were able to go through and code it into the DNA of the tree,
That's pretty crazy.
which is pretty nuts. But the whole theory was like in the future, you can make yourself a tree, like have your DNA go through a tree, and then people will go and visit and hear your story and interact with you.
Yeah, that's great. I wonder why trees though? Why is it more? Why does it make more sense to encode it into a tree as opposed to just having it on some kind of physical, like a computer or a hard drive? Or,
I think this was just the idea of like being
It was
very
just-
earthy and like
okay, just
in the future
I
we're going to
see.
give ourselves back to nature, and that
Okay,
people,
cool.
So I'm sure we could encode it into like, I don't know, toilet paper.
Yeah, yeah.
And it would
Right, and it would
still
work just as-
work,
yeah.
but it wouldn't be as like, pleasant
Right.
for someone to be like,
It is a lot
hey,
cooler.
great grandpa,
Yeah,
well, how you doing?
talking
That's, like,
to a
terrible.
talking to a roll of toilet paper.
Not just talking, but
Yeah,
really, really, connecting.
yeah, yeah. Bonding.
Oh, this is the worst show. I'm sorry.
No, this is awesome. Yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting. But people have heard a lot about AI, and so we might want to. I'll have to move on because I've probably spent 2 or 3 shows talking about AI. But as far as radio goes, I know you've obviously. How long have you been the teacher for our radio class?
Oh,
or for
wow.
radio?
So 2001 was the first year that I came in. I came in as a full-time substitute for like 1 term and established myself as the local idiot who didn't know anything but had a true passion for it. And then the guy that I was subbing for, Van Boakley, he was incredible. He passed away in 2009. He came back, finished out the year. I think he did 1 more year. And then I was going to college, and I was commentating a UVU basketball game on cable TV. And I got a call from the principal during halftime saying, hey, I'm watching you on TV. Just wanted to offer you an opportunity to take this job. Come in, interview for it. And I was like, oh my gosh,
That's cool.
This is crazy. I'll
Yeah.
have a full-time job as like a 22, 23-year-old, and in something that I love. And, teaching is a very lucrative
Yeah.
endeavor. So started officially in 2003, 2004. So it's been going on 20 years.
That's pretty awesome. So, and that's been teaching. Has it been like radio the entire way through?
Yeah, radio was the first year. I taught 1 class of Radio 2 and then 2 classes of Radio 1 because I wasn't qualified to teach anything else. And to be quite honest, I wasn't qualified to teach anything. Just had like extreme passion. And then after that, after my first year of teaching, I was making videos for UVU. I had a scholarship there, working with their sports program and their newspaper. I was their, I didn't know what it was as political cartoonist. I got the scholarship for it, and they said, can you do political cartoons? And I said, oh, yeah, for sure. So I came back with just a portrait drawing of like Theodore Roosevelt and said, here you go. And they're like, well, no, you're supposed to like be into politics and understand like the ins and outs. And I was like, oh. But they'd already given me the scholarship. So I kind of did a few things here and there, but then gravitated towards making the news, a weekly news show. So I had some video experience, started working with video, and then I was just teaching people like rogue. I was like, hey, you want to start making some videos? So we had 1 computer. People would come in and they'd start working on it. And we produced a lot of videos. And the next year, the school offered me the position to teach all the video classes as well, which was...
And what are those called? What are like the video classes?
The video classes back then were called like... It was multimedia, which is now digital media, and then TV broadcasting, which we don't have anymore. But it's like what we do in our Pleasant Grove Sports Network, where we broadcast games. Because I started doing that as soon as I could. Like we've been doing like multi-camera broadcasts since 2003.
Yeah, that's awesome. So which of all the students you've had, because you've brought in a few and they've come in and spoken to us. I remember there was a guy who worked at was it Apple?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had some pretty awesome careers. Do you know who has been the most successful? I don't know. Successful might not be the right word, but say I don't know, like gone the furthest with like what they actually did in high school.
This one's hard because everybody's gone in different directions.
Yeah.
And the level of success can be measured so differently.
Right.
So, I don't know if you stand out. Like I was driving home from work yesterday and I called a kid named Drake Smith, and he does a lot of 3D stuff. He works with a lot of really fun programs. He started inside of Photoshop, and then we worked into After Effects. And then his senior year, I started hiring him to work on music videos for me to give that like special effects stuff. And then he started working for another company called Stilo, and they moved from Pleasant Grove out to California. They've been doing big stuff with big companies. So he's awesome, but like talking to him, he's like, yeah, we put out some stuff and it looks like this, and he's so humble, and he's like, but we're kind of in a small space, we're trying to get bigger people, and it's like, well, you just made a huge thing for Roku. Yeah, like that's pretty big. Yeah. And then I've got other people like there's a girl named Courtney Osborne. She was Courtney Robinson in high school, who went out to Georgetown, played volleyball, got a degree in marketing, came back and worked with I'm trying to think of, I should know it. I think the owner owns the Jazz. Not the owner. Yeah. Ryan Smith. Shoot, I just forgot the name. Totally forgot it. But she did some big stuff, and she's come in and talked to the class. And she quit her job at a big company. She'd moved on from the first one. And she's creating her own business now and super successful. What's
the business?
Hers is about like men's mental wellness.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So she's on that, and she's just passionate about whatever she does. She was a state champion in tennis, which I coached, and in volleyball at the same time, which was unheard of, to do two sports at the same time and win state in both of them.
That is impressive, yeah.
So a lot of success, but I've also had so many people graduate and they become like stay-at-home moms, and I see them with their kids, and like the success there is as comparable as it is to somebody who's because the amount of time that they put in their kids' development. So I don't know, and I love when people go into stuff that is not what I taught them. Yeah, like that they can excel in what they're doing in my class, and then realize, hey, wait, video editors don't make a lot of money. I'm going to do something different.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting. That's why I think I love this class so much, is the fact that the stuff we're learning in this class can just kind of apply to whatever, because it's a lot more of just learning how to get good at something as opposed to what you're actually getting good at. Yeah. And that applies to anything.
It's pretty unique that they give you the opportunity to do that in a high school. Yeah. Where it's kind of masked with the name of a class. Yeah. And the more that I've been teaching, the more I realize that what I teach doesn't matter. That it's more that the students in the class have that like real resiliency to like figure out what they want to do anyway. So they might as well just like do it. Yeah. And if you can give them credit for it and like give them kudos and be like, hey, good work. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it's funny because I remember, telling anybody where they're like, oh, what classes do you have this year? I'm like, well, there's this really awesome one called radio. And it's not, it is radio. We do radio. But also, like, during class, we're also, like, going and, I'm actually sculpting a bunch of stuff. They're like, what does that have to do with radio? I'm like, well, it doesn't exactly have to do with radio, but it's kind of hard to explain.
Because my teacher is so weird.
Well, and it'll, like, there's that one time we went out and, it was like, it was for sports. And I had to, like, show them the whole connection. I'm like, well, we actually went out and filmed a pizza commercial. They're like, oh, what was that for? I'm like, oh, for sports broadcasting. And they're like, well, what did you, I'm like, well, it was for a sponsor for the video of the whatever, and we made a commercial for their pizza, And
they fed us for an entire.
And they did, yeah. I remember we came back with like 5 pizzas.
Big Daddy's Pizza. Yeah. They sponsor us, and the whole goal is because we're a non-commercial station, we cannot give them commercial space. But what we can do is have them sponsor us, and we can say, hey, Big Daddy's Pizza's located in Pleasant Grove at this place. They've been making pizzas for this long. We just can't give a call to action. We can't tell anybody where to go and what to do.
And I know, because I Squints, I believe, is going and looking for a sponsor for one of his shows. He's one, I forget what the Has he talked to you about this?
Yeah, it's
pretty
a record
cool.
company.
A record company. And he's looking for a sponsor there. He sent out an email yesterday. I think that'd be pretty awesome to be.
Yeah, I know
sponsored
that
by
we
them.
had a DJ do an all vinyl show.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah, that was DJ Ham, wasn't it?
DJ Ham.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going, like, he's shooting to be able to do more shows that are like strictly vinyl, and to be able to make that segment sponsored
Yeah.
by this company, which we will not mention until
Yeah.
we get a sponsorship.
It's probably a good thing I forgot the name of the company.
Yeah. And it's okay. We can say as many companies as we want, as long as we don't say, hey, go to this
Hey,
company.
go down there and
Go down there and buy their stuff for this much money. They're so great. And I'm eating their pizza right now.
And-
Oh,
yeah.
yum.
Yeah. What are some recent radio shows that you've been listening to? Because unfortunately, I don't have radio in my car because someone stole the antenna, which drives me absolutely nuts that people do that. But
They stole your antenna?
I think they clipped it. I think it like they go around they like in parking lots because apparently it's worth something.
Oh, because it's got the they'll go recycle it.
I
and turn it
guess.
in. Oh, that's
I guess.
disgusting.
Yeah, I know. So they like just at some point just came and clipped it, and I was like, oh, cool. So I don't have radio anymore, but I'm getting a little portable one. But so I haven't been able to listen to many shows
Oh, that's too bad.
recently. But what are some good ones?
Because
Because I feel bad because I have the morning show, and I want to give shout outs to other shows that I liked, but I just
yeah, it's funny.
can't listen to
I
it.
was having the conversation with my wife last night that as a radio teacher, I don't have a radio in my home.
Oh yeah,
Like-
really.
I listen to it while I drive, but I don't sit down and listen to it when I'm at home, which I should. And if we had an online, like an app, I'd be doing it. But that's like been a process trying
Yeah.
to get that going.
Yeah.
One of the shows that I listened to was a show where I'm just trying to like recall the one. The one that stands out in my mind is one where I heard about every time that it rains, this DJ talks about how they stay home and watch Twilight with their family, and they talk about like how, I don't know, there's something odd about Twilight in my mind, and I had the conversation with the DJ later. I was like, oh, Twilight. And I'll text in being like, oh, Twilight, gross. And she's like, no, it's great.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
still have yet to see Twilight somehow. There's a few movies that are just so popular that I've still managed to avoid somehow.
Yeah.
It's
Hold on to that dignity.
Yeah.
I gave that up, a story with my wife when we were first dating. She asked to go see, I think it was the last Twilight that came out. And we were pretty new in our relationship. And she lived in Salt Lake, and she's like, hey, I'm down in Utah County. Do you want to go see the new Twilight? And I was sitting there with my roommates, and we're all sitting in our living room, and I'm on the phone. And I look at them, and at the time, one of them was an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Another one was like this outdoors like bow hunter, and the other one was like an ultra marathon guy. All like
just a bunch of uber masculine, just
super-
like
yeah. And I'm looking at him, phone to my ear. I'm like, no, I'm good. And this is like the most attractive woman that I'd ever met and had an opportunity to go on any dates with. And we hadn't established our relationship yet.
right.
And we joke about it all the time because she's like, I had never been told no
Yeah.
on a date. And I was like, that's probably the reason why you wanted to stick with me. But fast forward 3 months, and I asked her, I was like, do you want to go see Twilight?
Yeah.
We're gonna go see it. I'm gonna make up for my error and my ways. So yeah, I let
That's
that dignity
awesome.
go.
DJ Frog texted and said, are you going to put this on the YouTube? Because I want to watch the full Russ interview. Yes, this will be on YouTube. Hopefully later today. If not, probably tomorrow. And then someone said other things that don't make sense, and I'm not going to read them on air because I'm confused. And I spend way too much time going, I don't understand what that means on air when people text in, because I assume, I don't want to point fingers, but I know some of you are texting and driving, which is bad. We do not condone that. Pull over when you're texting in. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. I've got to end the show there because I have construction class. But thank you, DJ Sketch, for coming
yeah.
on. This
Thank
is going to
you.
be awesome. I'm very excited for our weekly shows.
We'll see you next week when You have somebody else on the show
When
instead of me.
when I've entirely replaced you for our weekly show.
Where you bring somebody else in named DJ Sketch.
Yeah.
And
hey everybody, it's DJ Sketch here.
DJ Sketch.
Change your voice a little bit to try and get one of those voice modifiers that makes their voices super deep and like.
Hello and welcome.
Hello and welcome
to the show.
But yeah, thanks everybody for listening. This has been Opinionated. Go follow the Instagram. It's KPGR's _opinionated on Instagram, and also the YouTube where we have the full interviews. And thank you, DJ Sketch, for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is fun.
This is awesome. And up next we have Once Was Lost, Now Just Hanging Around by Sego up next.
Sego sucks.
Sego sucks.